Bigfoot Collectors Club presents
terrifying tales from zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt. I know a ghost story about you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their it's a very personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
And you know what, Bryce? For once, I would like one October when we could have the whole family together. Is that too much to ask? Can we get through 1 month of the spooky season without one of us leaving the show temporarily?
Yeah. Hey, we're busy boys, but we got a little Slumber Boys party coming up, so I'm pretty excited about that.
That's true. For people who haven't been listening to the show, they might wonder what the hell we mean. But unfortunately, Riley Bray will only be here in spirit tonight because he's off on location filming something with no Wi-Fi. But you know, last October, Bryce, you were on hiatus. It's been a couple years since we've all spent a Halloween together, and
man.
I want all my boys together.
We'll do it. We'll find something.
It is terrifying tales from zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt all month long. We are sharing stories that are extra spooky stories of high strangeness this month, of course, because it's Halloween. And you know what? We're going to bring tonight's guest right in. We've been chatting with them for about 15 minutes already, and I've heard some terms.
They're being vaguely quiet over there.
This is why
I know they're working hard at that. There they are.
I've heard at least one revolting term already. I won't repeat it now. I think we're all in for a treat. Let me just say that. Tonight's guests are the podcasting duo behind Crime Scene Queens. And they are setting the record straight and diving into the science of your true crime obsession. Each week, these forensic experts set out to curb the CSI effect. I know all about that because I've auditioned for them at least 100 times and tell you what really goes down at the scene. Perhaps they can analyze what the hell's going on in this clubhouse. Am I right? Club Scouts of all timelines.
Good Lord.
Please welcome SHELLY, HAIGHT, and Laura ZINN.
Yes. Hi, guys.
Ladies.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Here we are.
Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We've been dying to get some true crime into our clubhouse for the longest time, so you are most welcome to be here.
Well, thank you. Hopefully we pass the test and we can be and hopefully we can be some Club Scouts after this episode.
Oh, you're already in. Yes. Now, Laura, you're weathering the eye of Hurricane Ian right now. Is this true or not true?
I wouldn't say that I had to weather the eye. I don't want any stolen valor, but I will say that we were close enough into proximity to where the internet is a little dicey right now. Thankfully, I did not suffer any property damage, but most people in my area have. So I have a lot of blessings to count right now. But as a lifelong Floridian, I'm not trying to sound like apathetic, but this kind of just comes with the territory. I've been through over 13 severe hurricanes. So
that's amazing. Wow.
I'm a professional.
So can I just totally call Laura out for a second? So no, it's happening. All right. So I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, Laura, are you okay? I'm like texting her. And the text I get back is she says, while y'all are worried about us Floridians, you think that like we're freaking out? No, we're having a hurricane party where we eat whatever we want and we drink a ton. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, you drink a lot for no reason? Yeah. So she sends me like photos.
That feels so Britney Spears till the end of the world. You know what I mean? If the end of the
world's
world's coming, you got a party. Keep on dancing till the world ends.
That's right. Well, and it's funny. Our local grocery store, because I don't know if you guys have this store in California, but we are all about Publix here in Florida. And they even make hurricane cakes because we always buy like disgusting snacks and drink the whole time. And then the rule in Florida is you don't have to worry about the storm unless Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel shows up in your town, and then it's time to freak out. Like if Jim Cantor, there are so many memes, you guys. No. Okay, there was we have a superstition. All right, what Shelly's referring to is we have a superstition in crime scene investigation. You never, ever, ever, ever use the Q word or you're fucked. I don't know if you use that language on the show. Here I am. Okay. If you say the word...
Yeah, we're fine.
What's a Q word? Better than fuck. What's a Q word?
It's another word for shh.
What's the opposite of being loud?
Okay,
quiet.
got it.
Okay.
That's the word. He said the word.
So if you
I'm bad at this stuff. Right.
If you say that things are the Q word, then you are about to get blown up. Shootings, stabbings, homicides, banana sandwich. Like, that's the superstition. So right before the hurricane, I was watching the Weather Channel and they had the field agent and the meteorologist or the anchor was like, oh, how's it looking over there? And the guy in the field goes, oh, well, it's actually pretty... insert Q word. And so I freak out because next thing you know, the hurricane goes from a category 3 to a 5 in less than like an hour. And I'm like, it's because he said the Q word. But no, Jim Cantori.
Bryce, we have a hurricane hitting Los Angeles right now. Bryce,
how can you live like you can't live like that?
The hurricane that's hitting Los Angeles is the song by the Scorpions, so settle down.
There you go. Exactly.
Well, you live like that when you live a life on call. You just kind of work your way around the superstitions. I think that it only applies if you're referring to impending chaos. I think you can use it day to day.
Right.
Okay.
Impending chaos.
So this
only.
is a good.
Go ahead, Michael.
This is a good place to check in and just clarify for our listeners, what is it that you do exactly as a profession?
So I've been in crime scene investigation.
Who are you asking?
Yeah.
Both of you.
Okay. Well, I've been a CSI since
Laura,
2010. Go. Yeah. Oh, you want me to say it again? No.
You're great. You and Bryce are right in sync tonight. This is great.
Bryce, we're kindred.
We're gonna be fine.
Okay, so I have been in CSI since 2010. I have my master's degree in it. Basically, my very crass friend says I'm a corpse wrangler, which actually isn't true, but I basically investigate violent crime or property crimes for evidence. We discuss a lot that most CSIs aren't actually law enforcement officers, which is a common misconception, though some of them are. My job is the collection, the preservation, and the analysis of evidence. So,
damn, all about that evidence. That's
all
amazing.
about that base, right?
And you still have time to podcast.
I have 4 jobs, actually.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And
how about you, Shelly?
Well, so I've been in the legal field for about 25 years. And on top of that, I have a teaching degree. So I also have a forensics degree and I teach forensics and I also teach courtroom testimony. So I dabble in both and then I go out on crime scenes. But when I do it, I can't get paid for it because of my job. So I actually have to do it for free. So I just have fun going out and seeing stuff that you can't unsee.
Wow. Whoa. We
see a lot you can't
wild.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
How do you cope with that? Like, let's get into it. Like, what's the best way to cope with?
Everybody has their, yeah, exactly. So everybody has their a different coping mechanism. This is kind of actually evolving on the crime scene aspect of this since I started. I would say that crime scene investigators were expected to have a level of resiliency mentally through the duration of the science that was not very realistic or healthy. A lot of the ways that I used to cope with it was simply talking about it. I am not a bottle upper. I'm kind of the opposite. In fact, I have no tact whatsoever. In fact, I get in trouble for my mouth a lot, which is why I podcast. So if something bothered me, I was out with it. Though I will tell you, there's kind of, maybe you guys can actually contribute to this thought as actors, even though it's much, much different. When I'm on a scene, my brain is in a different place and I'm not looking at a body. I'm looking at a part of my job. So I'm a different, I everything, the way that I move is different. The way that I speak is different. The way that my brain is processing information is completely different. And I don't really know how to explain that.
You're in the zone. You get in the zone.
I'm in the zone. So of course I have the awareness that what I'm looking at is sad, tragic, but the way that I take that information and turn it into something that's healthy is I'm like, oh, well, this is a really bad situation, so I'm going to be the best CSI I can. It's almost motivating the more sad things get. But that being said, things have absolutely crept in. There are cases that still cross my mind from the beginning of my career. There are victims' names that I will literally never forget, and also suspects' names. So my coping mechanism was to be the opposite of a bottle upper. And also really, really dark gallows humor. In fact, sometimes, but that has been like, even through the duration of the podcast, we've gotten feedback that like we sound uncaring or unkind or insensitive to victims, when that's not the case. It's just that if you can't take this very serious, heavy thing and make it funny, you're not going to survive.
Yep.
So we have to have gallows humor. Yeah. You will go crazy, and it doesn't mean that we don't care. Yeah, that's all right. So that's my explanation.
Shelly.
So for me, I just pretty much turn it into science. So if I'm looking at something that the normal person shouldn't ever look at, I think, okay, I could vomit right now, or I could think about how this is going to happen scientifically, and I take out all emotion and I spin it around while I'm on scene. And then after that, I go home, and sometimes I will get in the shower and cry, or sometimes I will just like laugh, because it's just an emotion and it's not laughing at anything other than myself, and just because I have to burst out, and I don't like to scream because I'll lose my voice. Sure. So like, and I also, when I said I teach stuff too. So when I teach stuff, I also tell people, I say, when you smile and when you laugh, you release different endorphins. And so it just completely like resets your body and changes your body. So you have to have something. So that's what I do.
I'm a big laugher in uncomfortable and like sometimes scary situations, honestly. You know what I mean?
Or like on a roller coaster, you won't see me scream. You'll see me laugh.
Oh, me too. Right. And my girlfriend knows this from watching movies with me. In like super violent, crazy scenes in movies, like action movies, and my brother-in-law does this as well, because I've seen a lot of movies with him, I will be cackling with laughter. Really? And I sound like a maniac in the audience.
So you might be the only other person in the movie theater that is laughing with me.
It's a psychological defense mechanism is what it is. And
it's fight or
the
flight.
Only way to stay sane in a job like you guys have. And you know what? Thank God for people who do this profession, who are staring into the abyss, whether it's men and women who wear the uniform for a military or law enforcement, or people who work crime scenes, morgues, morticians, you name it. There are professions where people, unfortunately, as a side of the job, have to like look into the darkest recesses of the human mind, and sometimes it looks back, and I would imagine that'd be pretty fucking scary.
Bryce and I are looking down an existential darkness of whether or not people love us. That's kind of our fear as in our profession. Do they want us on their TV show or their movie? It's terrifying. It really is. I have cried in a shower before, so I'm just saying. Maybe
good for you.
We all have to come up with coping mechanisms.
Hey, here's a good segue question. What do you guys think about this? The performance of or the job of an actor like this guy who's playing someone like Dahmer, something that's so dark and it's obviously stirring up so many emotions with the victims' families. I mean, that must be a dark process to get into the character of that. I wouldn't want a job like that. I don't know if I could take on a job like that and do it true justice, because I don't want to scratch around in those recesses.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, there's a couple of things that have surfaced about that show. Victims' families are pissed. They don't like that they're being reenacted.
Victims' families are definitely upset.
Yeah, they're really upset.
Right.
They're saying
it
like
wasn't cleared with them first. They weren't even talked about.
Yeah, they weren't they weren't given consent or given the opportunity for consent or a conversation. And it's my understanding that I haven't watched the show, but there's a scene where a victim's sister gets particularly emotional during trial. And they duplicated that for the show. And she is deeply hurt by this. And she's like, how many times do I have to be re-traumatized because they keep resurfacing the pain of my brother? We don't want this. So as far as actually answering your question, Evan Peters, I mean, if you watch him throughout the duration of American Horror Story, he seems quite comfortable in that dark place. So I would imagine it's a personal choice for an actor.
Yeah.
That's
answered well. And I think it's the job. Yeah, it's a good thought. I think it's the job of art to sort of lay this out before the general masses as well. Because if it wasn't for like movies like this that have sort of sensationalized these villains, look, we're all villains in our own right. But I get it; they sensationalize this, but it sort of allows people access to these dark things that do exist in our society, and it's a way for them to sort of parse it out. And I get it. They sensationalize it and they wrap it up in a nice bow, but at the same time, I mean, people are learning that, oh my God, there are people out there like this. I should be maybe a little bit more aware of this,
Well, my gentle pushback on that, Bryce, is that everybody was well aware of Dahmer before this show. And secondarily, there are plenty of victims' families that do want the awareness and do give their consent, and they want the stories told for exactly what you're saying. But people, when they've already been traumatized or victimized or had to suffer loss like this, they have the right to privacy. Yeah. And it's not very fair that they're being exploited for money. Now, I wanted to answer it and say gently, because I get your point. We do need to understand this dark aspect of human nature. Like, it's important for safety. It's important for like many things, but I can't imagine how I would feel if my sister was murdered and my family wanted to heal privately, because you'll never heal from that. And I keep seeing podcast after podcast or TV movie after TV movie made. Right. It would be awful. And so empathy is a big thing for us,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, here's what I want to know.
Sorry, we got dark.
We ask all of our questions.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this.
It's October month. We're okay to get dark now.
I'm so clapping. Like I'm fully clapping. I'm so excited for this.
Good. I'm picturing, when I think of forensics and the unexplained, of course, my mind goes to Dr. Dana Scully from X-Files and some strange things that they might have found on a case or a crime scene. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if there's ever the world of the unexplained or the paranormal has ever crossed over with your field, but have you guys ever seen anything in your lives that you can't explain, maybe on the job? What is your personal paranormal history? Shelly, let's start with you.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I have two stories, because I thought about this. So I have two stories that one is just like a super crazy, weird thing. And it's funny because I've actually talked to a couple of coworkers about it. And this is legit. So in my building at work, it's an older building. And when I'm in trial, I am, almost 24/7 working. And so I'll go into work and I'll get there super early, or else I'll work until super early. And I'm talking, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
Jeez.
And there is a presence of a female that is in the building. And I normally see her in the bathroom. And our bathrooms are, when you go in there, the lights turn on. And so sometimes our bathrooms are in the hallway too. So we have to exit our office to go to the bathroom. And sometimes I know I'm there alone. There's no one on my floor. Absolutely no one there. I'm the only one on my floor in this building. And I'll open the door to my office to look down the hall, and the light in the bathroom's on. And I'm like, but I have to go pee. So I'm going to go. So I start walking down the hallway, and then
I'm sure she understands that.
See the door kind of open. Yeah, exactly. And so I see the door open, and I see this female, and she just goes in the bathroom.
You saw what?
You're seeing, a full form apparition.
Yes, but it's like a silhouette of a female, and she's, I mean, I'm short, so she's just a smidge taller than me. And the first time I saw this vision, I freaked. I thought that I was like, I am exhausted because this cannot be true. And then I saw her again, and I hear things. And so, for instance, a really, really good friend of mine at work, the secretary on our team, she asked me the other day, we talked about this, and she said, have you seen the girl? And I'm like, what girl are you talking about? She told me about her as well. There's another paralegal that I work with that tells me, yes, I see her all the time. She always goes in the bathroom. So this is a girl that is in our building, and it is just a spirit. And she's very sweet, very nice. And when she goes in there, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go to the restroom. That's all do you want me to hold the door open for you? Do you need, you need some,
you need
anything?
A tampon?
I'm here. Yeah. It's cool. Like, we're friends. Right? Yeah. Like, we're friends. So it's cool. So that's something that that, and, when I was younger, the Ouija board, messed around with that and stuff. But speaking, so that's like my mini story. And then this one is absolutely crazy. So secretary, again, she tells me this story. It's actually kind of a well-known story about Las Margaritas. And so it's a couple of high school kids. They were out partying, and there was this empty house that is in their little town. And they all went over to this empty house, and they're partying, they're drinking, they're listening to music, whatever. And then they start to play the Ouija board, and they ask, there's two girls. So the two girls are cousins, and they ask the Ouija board, when are we going to die? And the Ouija board says, tonight. So they're like, we're out of here. So they all get in this truck, and they're getting ready to drive back into town to leave this place because now they're all freaked out. And the two girls, Margaritas, both their names are Margarita. So the two Margaritas, they get in the back of the truck in the bed because it's Mexico and you can ride in the back of the truck. It's not a big deal. And there might have been some alcohol involved.
1985 and my granddad is driving his 4 small grandchildren around.
Or it's 1995 and I'm cruising the strip in Fort Collins, Colorado, and being a high school kid.
Or it's the 2000s. Or it's the 2000s and a bunch of hot guys had a truck and I did what I needed to do.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, so these, so Las Margaritas, and so they get in a car accident, and one of the Margaritas, unfortunately, her face gets completely ripped off.
Whoa.
And the other Margarita, she ends up dying, and my secretary's cousin is 17. They pronounce her dead. This is such a small town. They bring my secretary's cousin to a neighboring town because they don't have really a hospital there and they don't have a morgue. So they take her to the morgue. My secretary's cousin is 17 at the time, wakes up in the fridge of the morgue.
Shut the door.
Dead serious. She is in her 40s now, lives to tell about it. But on to that story. So the Margarita cousin. Yeah.
What? Wait, this is the faceless girl in the accident, or the one that they thought was
the other one that died?
Nope. This is not the two Margaritas. This is a third. This is a third person because we're getting back to the Margaritas. So two girls die on scene.
Oh my god.
Okay.
One girl gets her face ripped off. The other Margarita just dies, and then my secretary's other cousin, she
who was in the accident.
Who was in the accident as well, because there's a truck full of people.
Yes.
And so she ends up going to a morgue in a neighboring town, wakes up in the refrigerators.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Lives to tell about it today.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah. So then the Margaritas cousins have been seen on the side of the road hitchhiking, and people will pull over and they're like, we just need to go to town. No. And so they'll pull over, let the girls in, and the girls always want to ride in the bed of the truck that's where they died. They always want to ride in the bed of the truck. And so they hitchhike, get in the bed of the truck, and people go over the hill. And at the very bottom of the hill is the end of town. And they, all right, we're here. And they turn around and they're gone. Like they're not even there.
Classic Phantom Hitchhiker, a real CPH.
Huh.
That's Yep.
Phantom Hitchhiker. These are stories that are all around. Like you can go to almost any area of the country and there's stories of phantom hitchhikers. There's what's the one in Chicago? Not Revelation Mary, Resurrection Mary's one.
Yeah.
There was
I've heard
one,
of that one.
Yeah, there's another one I was doing research for a future episode. There's another one in Indiana, another Mary who shows up and she's like, got killed on the way to prom and she's still in her prom dress. And these stories exist, they not to say that they don't exist because, or they exist because they're just passed around. They might exist because this stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Super crazy. But some people say that they see and they don't pull over because they're like, one of the girls doesn't look like she has a face. Like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
So they don't pull over for the hitchhikers. But how crazy? Super crazy. So, yeah.
Terrifying.
Do not pull over for ghost girls. I just don't do it. I won't do it.
Yeah. What about Lydia, the phantom hitchhiker?
That's a really great. Can we just stop? That's great story. That's got my mind. That's got my mind reeling, man.
The North Carolina one.
Yeah, it's so interesting because
Lydia the Phantom Hitchhiker in North Carolina. Yes, Greensboro. I'm looking this up right now.
Doesn't it seem like these things are on like a loop per se, as opposed to like having sort of an actual individual consciousness as an apparition, or let's say a soul that hasn't gone to the other side? It seems like a playback loop, right? We often talk about on this podcast things that end in high traumatic emotional energy bursts, which can often be violent crime, I would imagine. It can leave an imprint, and they call this the stone tape. It can leave sort of a lasting impression on whatever this sort of energy field that surrounds us. And maybe that's what some of these playback apparitions are, these phantom hitchhikers. You guys visit a lot of sort of traumatic scenes. Do you ever pick up on any of this psychical energy?
I have. That's one of my stories, actually.
I was hoping you were going to tell this one.
Okay. Well, I just in an effort to be like chronological, to your paranormal question, guys, I have started to realize over the past, I would say 5 years, like whenever somebody asked me a question about whether or not I had a paranormal experience, I always said no. And due to reflecting on like just having like like how something triggers a memory you didn't remember and then now the whole thing is there. So something that I carried with me, my dad immigrated from Ireland in the 60s or 70s, and I grew up traveling to Ireland to visit my family. And I have a very distinct memory of being a very young person, probably so young that I shouldn't pull this like to the forefront of my mind. But you know how you deboard the plane, you go get your luggage, and then typically there's different stages of the airport that you have to walk through to get your luggage. So I remember there being like a waist-high wall, and then the distance from the top of the wall to the ceiling was glass. So it was completely sealed off, but you could see through half of it.
Like a partition.
Yeah, thank you. That's a much better word. So I was walking with my family, and my grandma and grandpa are on the other side of the partition, and they're waving at us. And they are surrounded by children to the point where I thought that they were sitting and waiting for us on bleachers. And these are all glowing, beautiful, excited, joyous children. And so we walk around the partition, and it's just my grandma and grandpa.
That's wow.
And I even said to them, where are all the children? Because my grandpa was a Reverend Canon in the Episcopal Church. So I thought, my tiny mind thought, well, he probably brought the children from the church to say hi to us, because I was like a young girl and I was trying to justify why my grandparents were surrounded by so many kids. And then they all disappeared, and they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, you guys had a bunch of children all around you. And they're like, no. So that story.
Laura just wanted someone to play with.
Well, apparently I did. Well, my mom still even says, do you remember that time you thought there was like 1,000 children? Because that's how I described it. So that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it was literally like, think about stadium bleachers. I thought my grandparents were surrounded by children. Mm-hmm.
Can I just interject and ask? Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I was just going to say these were not sad children. These were not injured children. They were joyous, glowing, smiling, waving, happy to see me children.
Right. I mean, you must have thought about what this is or why that took place or perhaps why you saw that. Can you tell us? Have you come to any conclusions or guesses?
My guess is that my grandpa led a very beloved life. He was the type of clergy that people felt very comfortable genuinely sharing their struggles with him. And I think that he was literally surrounded by, like, I don't know if it's like cherubs or like just such positivity that he...
Yeah.
I mean, the both of them were like amazing people. So I almost want to think it's, regardless of what you believe in, if you want to call it like angels or if you're a universe belief system person, just so much positive energy. Like, I honestly think it was just me seeing, what's a good word? Like, I don't want to say it interdimensionally, but like almost like I was looking through the eyes of a child.
You're peeking behind the veil.
Yeah, I like that much better. Thank you. My childlike mind didn't have any preconceived notions of how the environment should look, so I was able to see something else. And
incredible.
How that showed up the next time within my cognizant memory was my karma work that I do is I teach private yoga to teenagers who need it. And
I love that.
I was having a session with a young man, and I don't know if your listeners or you guys are familiar with yoga, but in case you're not, we were in Shavasana. Yep. Okay, great. So we were in final relaxation. And every time I'm leading, especially a class.
Michael Google's Shavasana.
It's just laying down on your back after yoga. It's nice. It's the relaxation
ironically,
part.
It is called corpse pose, ironically. But I send energy this way, like to people when they're doing that. Sometimes I'll imagine like all kinds of positive, like white light or gold light on them. And I was sitting with this young man and I had an insanely realistic, creepy vision of a baby being born. And I couldn't see the mother, but I saw the baby and the mother felt behind me and I felt her grief. And I felt the baby having no pain. And then I found out some months later of seeing this young man that he was adopted.
Oh.
That's so trippy.
My mentor in yoga said, oh, he opened up to you. So he sent you that memory. And I was like, okay,
it's like a psychical parlay. You know what I mean? You're exchanging information without even knowing it. That's wild.
Yes. Now, the creepy one that Shelly was excited for me to tell you about.
Yeah. Well, hold on real quick. I want to know, when you're getting that vision, are you seeing it in your mind's eye? Like suddenly your thoughts are interrupted with it? Or are you seeing like an overlay with your eyes? Are you suddenly seeing like as if two pieces of film were overlapping? You're visually seeing something, translucent over what you're seing.
It felt like a daydream. Do you ever have a daydream so good that you actually need to be snapped out of it?
Mm-hmm. I'm having one of those right
now. You set us up for that. Yeah.
I did?
Oh my God. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Listen, it's so incredible. I mean, man, that's wild.
I think that my stuff is literally just from, watching too much Faces of Death when I was younger.
Right.
Too scared. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
For those of our audience members who don't know, there were, back in the day when there was old video stores, some independent video stores used to have a dark section, and among other sort of nefarious videos, there were these videos called the Faces of Death, and they were actually recorded videos of people facing their demise in strange and untimely manners.
Some were fake, but they mixed the fake ones in with the real ones, so you never knew.
It was the decapitation was
a cocktail of terror.
Oh, They were so, you just couldn't stop. I could stop watching.
Man.
Laura, what's this creepy one that Shelly's terrified by?
I don't even all right, so Shelly and I just had an episode released called Befuddled and Bewildered, where I talk about this case, but I don't tell this story in it, but Shelly knows it. Okay, so basically we had a death investigation and the evidence was very confusing. I couldn't tell if the person had a medical event, or if there was foul play. And in this, the body was in the main bedroom. So I was standing in there with him, and I will admit that I kind of talk, like, because I do believe that there's lingering that happens.
Yes.
So I do talk to them sometimes. Not every time. It's kind of like whenever I feel it. So I was talking to him, and I said, "What happened?" And I used his name. And I look over on the bed, and there's a pendulum. And just to be clear on what I'm talking about, because that word can mean a lot of things, it is a pyramid-shaped, usually crystal. This one was rainbow, representing all of the chakras. If you don't know what a chakra is, Mr. Google does. And it hangs on the end of like usually a silver chain, and it is meant for you to communicate. So the detectives all come in and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a pendulum. We use it sometimes to communicate." And they go, "You know how to use that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really use them myself personally, but I know how to use it." And they said, "Use it. Ask him if he got killed." So the rules of a pendulum are you have to establish the yes and the no. So I ask the air, I said, "What's the yes?" And it starts to move in a circle. And then you stop it, and then you say, "Okay, what's the no?" And it starts to go up and down, so not circular. So I say, "Okay, did you die naturally?" And it says, "No." And they're like, "Okay, you're moving it." I said, "No, I'm not moving it." So then we said, "Okay, were you murdered?" And it starts to go in a circle. And then I made them all do it, and it gave the same answers, and they were so freaked out. And guess what happened? What ended up being the disposition of that case?
Murder.
100%. And at this time, I had no bias.
100% murder.
Yes, murder. So that
100%.
And I also get visits in my sleep a lot.
Wow. Can I just say that I love that this sort of flies in the face of science and I guess, what we see on CSI, the TV show, but here you are sort of grasping and maybe even outside the box to solve the crime, to get any sort of clue.
I wouldn't write that. I wouldn't write that in my crime scene report, though.
No, I know, but I love this word you used, lingering. Like, obviously, you're picking up on something that's left behind, that's not of this material world. Whether it's just energy, or it's a clue, or it's something, it's there to be picked up on and used to help just bring this case to justice or solve a crime.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to be honest, I wouldn't ever scientifically quantify that, but due to the nature of this conversation, I feel like it's appropriate. Like,
Absolutely.
Okay, so this might be a petty comparison to people who have suffered great loss, but I have suffered loss of animals in my past few years. And they linger. I see them and hear them all throughout my house, and they usually linger for about 2 weeks. And then typically a couple of months after they pass, they come for a visit in my dream, and then I don't hear from them for a while. But I've lost about 4 dogs in 5 years, and the formula has been the same. They linger.
Wow.
So I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's wishful thinking. I don't know if it's mandala effect. I don't know if it's what I want to be. But regardless, I think the term is lucid dreams, like that, where I wake up and I'm surprised I'm in my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are my stories.
Fantastic.
Michael, that's got a ring. I mean, that's
I've definitely can relate to. I lost a very dear pet 2 years ago, and will still have very, very vivid dreams where he visits, and I'm like, I can smell him, I can feel, even if it is like just my brain replaying a tape of the sense memory, it's like, that's pretty fucking cool. But it's often like, and sometimes I have dreams where I'm like, oh, he's here, but I know I'm dreaming and I know it's not him. I know this is a dream of Albie. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, Albie is 100% here. You know what I mean? There's
Brody.
a difference.
Mine was Brody. Oh, and the other thing that's really quick, when I was pregnant with my first daughter, my grandma visited every night at 3 a.m. She woke me up to tell me about how things should go with my kid. She was so
that's
bossy.
The afterthought one. Oh yeah, and then my grandma visited every night at 3 a.m.
That's the time of high. That's the time of high strangeness, by the way. That's a very common pattern where people get visitations.
Oh, really?
That sort of that 3 a.m. hour. We've been calling it the time of high strangeness. You know, I love this because here you are, trusting your senses, even if it's a sixth sense that all of scientific disciplines can't agree on. Here we are still trusting it because you know what? We have to trust our gut, our senses, that small voice in the back of our mind that's telling us, because it's coming from somewhere. It feels true, and it often delivers results.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
True.
Unfortunately, this is the time. Sorry, this is the time where we have to go to break, but we'll be right back with more of the crime scene queens.
Yes.
All right, we're back with Laura and Shelley from Crime Scene Queens. And look, the thought I was having right before I had to interrupt us all to go to break. I wonder if some of this stuff is. I have to ask: are you, because of the nature of your work with the dead, do you feel that brings you closer to the other side, or is it the fact that you're already in touch with the other side that sort of brought you to work with the dead?
Good question.
Ooh, that's a great question. If you don't mind, Laura, I'm going to jump in on that one.
Yep.
I want to say, I feel like I've already experienced it, and so it just enlightened me. So I had this, with prior experiences when I was little, it was great. And I felt like I had a connection with either the dead or, with some weird paranormal stuff. And I think it made my brain understand that I'm not crazy because I can deal with it better. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah. See, I'm not crazy. Yeah, no, I think it enhanced it. It made me want to, I love forensics. I think that's where my passion came from, was this deep rooted belief and experiences, the experiences that I had.
Incredible.
Yeah. That Ouija board, man.
Yikes. All right. Well, we have a game that we like to play with all of our guests. I'm going to go down a list of phenomena. And if you're open to it, you're going to say, believe it. If you're not open to it, you're going to say bullshit. There's no in between for the sake of this game. Okay?
Okay.
Yep.
If there's something you want to revisit, we'll circle back and we'll talk more about it. This is a game that we call Bullshit
or Believe It.
Crypt Edition. All right, Laura, Shellly, on your marks, get set.
Hold on, before we do this, should I say like Shelley and then Believe It or Bullshit, and then Laura can say the same? That way, like the difference?
Guys could just spurt out your answers.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. All right.
On your marks, get set, ghosts.
Believe.
Sure.
Yeah. That's not an answer. Believe it or bullshit.
Yeah, thank you.
There's no in between.
Not in the same way that you're thinking, though.
No, it doesn't matter. Nope. There's no. It's believe it or bullshit.
Okay.
Well, nope. Laura, nope. All
right, we're already off to rocky start here, ladies. Okay, we'll circle back. You got to say believe it or bullshit. Okay, it's forcing you into a corner. Okay.
Okay, then yes.
Here we go. Great.
No, believe it then.
Believe it. Thank you.
Believe it.
Okay. Aliens.
Believe it.
No. Bullshit.
It's
Bigfoot.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd like that to be true.
Okay, so you say believe it or bullshit.
Laura, this isn't rocket science. It's believe it or bullshit. It's
I like that answer. I'd like it to be true. I almost want to accept that.
Thank you,
All right,
Bryce.
All right, Laura. Here we go.
Believe it, God.
Zombies.
Bullshit.
Werewolves.
There you go.
Believe it.
Bullshit.
Shapeshifters.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Ouija boards.
Believe 100%. Believe it. Passionately believe it.
Believe it, but never mind. We're not allowed to qualify it, so believe it.
Shadow people.
I don't know what
Believe
that
it.
is.
Like some people wake up in the middle of the night and they see shadow entities walking around their room.
Oh, yes, believe it.
Yeesh.
Horror movies.
Believe it.
What do you... Wait, that's...
Are you into it or not?
Genre of
Are you
movie?
into it or not? I'm throwing you a
no.
little curveball here, guys. It's a fun Halloween edition.
Bullshit.
Witches.
Yes, believe it.
Portals to hell.
Bullshit.
Curses.
Believe it.
Demons.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Things get weird when there's a full moon.
Believe it.
Psychic vampires.
Believe it.
Bullshit.
Regular vampires.
Bullshit.
Black magic.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Fortune telling.
Believe it.
Believe it. Ish. Yeah.
Egging a house.
Believe it. Believe it.
Haunted dolls.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Robert the doll is down here.
There you go. Bat squatch.
Bullshit.
Bat squatch? Is that food?
Yeah, it's a really big giant bat monster from Washington State. They call bat squatch.
Okay, believe it.
Spiders are scary.
Believe that shit.
Bullshit. I'll step on you.
Candy corn.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Believe it.
Believe it multiple times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Dressing up for Halloween.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Great.
Hell
All right. We got off to a rocky start. Laura, sorry I had to come
guys.
down hard on the rules.
Okay.
But here we go. Now we
Yeah.
can circle back. I think we had Ghosts was the first one.
Yes.
100% believe it.
Believe it.
Laura, you were... Oh, okay.
Oh, you're
you seem
asking
to
me to...
hesitate.
All right. So I think that there are things that exist, but I don't always believe that the form that it's showing you is the true nature of the being that you're seeing.
Great.
I
Great.
think that there are deceptive
Like a glamour.
spirits that, yeah. Like I think there are deceptive spirits that are seemingly amicable or amiable, and then they're not. They're actually malicious, but they kind of hook you by presenting this person that you're grieving or this situation. Like I don't know how to explain it.
I think that happens a lot on Ouija boards. I think that's the thing.
Yeah,
with
that's what I
Ouija
meant
boards
also
when
with
you
Ouija
agree,
boards. I
Shelley.
don't think that what's
You have
communicating
no
with
system
you.
of verification.
Yeah, there's not a
you
system.
have no system of verification.
It's not
what
gonna
was the other?
exist.
Oh, things get weird when there's a full moon. I was excited that you both were like, "Oh hell yeah!"
Oh, yeah.
Without fail.
Full moons bring out.
Like there are memes, you
Really?
guys, upon memes about the Q word that I mentioned earlier, and about the full moon, like and Mercury retrograde. So people just go bananas during these times.
Yes.
Great.
People go crazy during full moons and family holidays. Like I have been called out on Christmas for stabbings so many times. It's annoying.
What about
Stop stabbing
Halloween?
family.
Is Christmas worse? Is Christmas worse than Halloween?
100%, because in Christmas you're like, and Thanksgiving, anything where like your family gathers for long periods of time, and then people start talking shit about who's married and who's divorced and who doesn't have kids yet and who should and who's a bum and this, like Halloween, everybody goes trick or treating. so they're out of the house and out of each other's ether. But particularly with COVID, we saw like so much more domestic violence.
Yeah.
Whoa,
oh yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, that's so.
There
before,
you go,
like,
guys. Halloween. Halloween safer than Christmas, everyone.
100%.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I want to hit, like, I'm excited for you to talk about a couple more of these areas, these topics.
Which ones popped up for you?
Like shapeshifter.
Yeah. We got a strong belief out of you of werewolves and shapeshifters.
Yeah. So what did Laura say about shapeshifters?
I said bullshit. Yes, but I also kind of tie it back to the same thing. Like, did I say bullshit?
No, it makes sense saying what you...
Yeah, I think
hearing what you said before, that makes sense, yeah.
And what did Shelley say about shapeshifting?
You said hell yeah.
Shapeshifters.
I thought hell yeah was what I heard.
Yeah, you know why?
Yes, tell us.
Because, like, Transformers, more than meets the eye. I mean, same thing, right? And if you're going to tell me no, then I'm going to say, well, then I'm going to wear a shapeshifter under a tight dress so I look better.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. It's what it means to you.
I know what it is. But that's funny, right?
It's great.
It's not funny. All right, dad joke. Sorry, that was sorry. I'll just sit here and look pretty.
All good. All right. Well, let's get to this week's story of high strangeness. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to look back and pull a scary story or a story of high strangeness from history. Now, I couldn't get 2 weeks into Zombie Bigfoot's Crypt month without visiting a haunted house. We had to do it. Obviously, we already mentioned the Robert the Haunted Doll.
Right.
Lots of haunted houses down in the Florida Keys areas. Yep. I feel like,
and St. Augustine.
Yeah, St. Augustine. We did. Have you ever heard of the St. Augustine's monster, the sea monster that washed up on shore there?
No.
Oh, we did it over on the other side, but some weird carcass washed up on shore at the turn of the century, and they put it on display in the town center of St. Augustine. So look it up. Yeah, it's delightful. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about a very haunted place in the United States of America, right in the heart of America in St. Louis, Missouri. We're talking about the Haunted Lemp Mansion.
Oh.
Considered to be one of the most haunted places in America, the Lemp Mansion of St. Louis, Missouri was host to tragedy and trauma. Its history is possibly one of the darkest and most morose subjects of high strangeness we've covered. So, consider this to be your warning, dear Club Scouts. At its height, the mansion was home to one of St. Louis's most premier families, the Lemps, who made their fortune from their family brewery. And in some of the research I looked up, they were called beer barons, which I think is my new favorite term.
Love that, yeah.
It's an alliteration, too.
Always a delight. The Lemp fortune began with Johann Adam Lemp, a German immigrant who settled in St. Louis, Missouri back in 1838. Lemp began his American empire as a grocer, opening a small store on a location very close to where the St. Louis Arch stands today. Eventually, Lemp began brewing and selling his own beer, which became popular with all of the other German immigrants in the area. This led to Lemp founding the Western Brewery in the 1840s. One of Lemp's innovations was storing his beer in an underground cave near the St. Louis River, a practice which was soon imitated by other budding breweries. The thriving family business was inherited by William Lemp, Adam's son, and William would take what his father had built and turn the flagship beer of the Lemp Western Brewing Company, Falstaff Beer, into a global brand. William expanded on the underground cavern cooling system, which led him to develop early mass refrigeration techniques, allowing Lemp beer to be preserved, shipped, and sold all over the nation and in Europe. In the 1860s, Lemp's Western Brewery was the leading brewery company in St. Louis, outselling their competitors Anheuser-Busch and their Budweiser beer. It was during William's reign that the Lemp Mansion was built and routinely expanded to incorporate more rooms and office space for the brewery. William built a tunnel leading from the mansion to the underground caverns of the ever-expanding brewery, which now took up 5 city blocks. A heated underground pool and a live performance theater and a bowling alley were built beneath the mansion to entertain the elite of St. Louis. By all definitions, the Lemps were the poster family of the American dream, wealthy, powerful, and prosperous. But in the early 1900s, misfortune set its eye upon William and his 8 children. A string of traumatic events would lead many in the public to believe that the Lemps had been cursed. It all began in 1901 when William's son Frederick died of heart failure, unexpectedly. William, who had been growing his father's empire since the 1860s, slipped into an ever-deepening depression, and his grip on the business began to loosen. 3 years after Frederick's unexpected death, William's best friend, Frederick Pabst, that's right, of Pabst Blue Ribbon, died in January of 1904. William grew despondent, retreating from the family business altogether, and 1 month later, he shot himself in the head in the Lemp family mansion.
I knew something like that was coming soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you, the hits just keep coming.
Oh, no.
Tell me more.
William Jr. took over the family business, and unfortunately, he lacked his father and grandfather's business acumen. In fact, William Jr. was pretty much a grade A fuckboy of the early 20th century.
I love this so much right now.
Fuckboy.
Yeah.
During William Jr.'s tenure, the family brand began to decline as competition from the other breweries in the area grew stiffer. William Jr. spent spent most of his time partying with sex workers down in those caverns, while he was married to a woman from a wealthy family named Lillian Handley, aka the Lavender Lady, as she was known for her favorite color of dress and accessories and purple carriage harnesses for her horses. William Jr. and Lily blew through the family inheritance. William allegedly gave his trophy wife a $1,000 per day allowance. This is back in the early 1900s, I want to remind everybody. $1,000 per day, and demanded that if she didn't spend it, she'd be cut off from any future payments.
Damn.
Although the couple only had one, he wanted her to shop. Although the couple only had one son, William III, William Jr. allegedly had an illegitimate son with a sex worker from one of those parties. The boy was kept secret from the public and was born with Down syndrome and raised in the attic quarters of the mansion with the servants.
Yikes. This is bad news, bears.
Yeah. Dark. Never came out of the house, was in the attic. Yes.
Flowers in the attic, only not the same.
Nope. The boy was also given the cruel nickname the Monkey Face Boy.
Aww.
And his spirit is said to haunt the mansion to this very day.
As it should.
Yeah, buddy, this poor kid. There's so many things in this story that we're going to hear where it's like there was a lot, you guys, it didn't have to be this bad. In 1909, William Jr. and Lillian had a very public and very scandalous divorce in which she narrowly won custody of William III. She almost lost custody because somebody took a photo of her smoking a cigarette and passed it around, and people were like, "She's unfit to be a mother."
The drama. Does she from the left-hand side?
Yeah. The business continued to decline, and by the time World War I broke out, William Jr. had all but squandered his entire family fortune. I mean, relatively speaking, they still had money and assets and all that stuff, but the brewery was on the way out. When Prohibition rolled around in 1919, William Jr. sold the rights to Falstaff Beer and shut down the brewery for good. In 1920, William Jr.'s baby sister Elsa, who was now grown and had supposedly been suffering through a rocky marriage of her own, shot herself in the head in her home, just like their father had. And there's some thoughts, some theories that maybe she had been murdered. She fought with her husband, got divorced, got remarried, and then like a month or two after they remarried, she committed she died by suicide. So some people think that maybe her husband had murdered her. The family curse was sinking its talons into William Jr. by this point. He too succumbed to a deep depression. He started behaving erratically and nervously and shut himself away from the public eye. In 1922, he ultimately followed his father and sister's footsteps, shooting himself in the head with a .38 caliber rifle on the ground floor of the mansion.
Damn, a .38.
Yep. William Jr. had two living brothers, Charles and Edwin, who were not part of the family business. And in the late 20s, Charles, a banker, moved back into the mansion where he lived with William's illegitimate son, the one who was in the attic, and who eventually died in the mansion in his 30s. And the poor illegitimate son was buried in a simple plot with a gravestone that simply read Lemp. As Charles aged over the next 2 decades, his mental health declined. He developed an ever-increasing phobia of germs. He wore gloves at all times to protect himself and washed his hands obsessively. He did manage to outlive his nephew, William III, who died of a heart attack in 1943. Eventually, though, the family curse took hold of Charles. One dreadful night in 1949, he loaded a gun, shot his faithful Doberman pinscher, then walked up the mansion stairs to his room and shot himself. I
was sad for him until he killed the dog.
I know, he should have reversed the order.
Right.
Sure.
Seriously. His body was found by one of the servants the next morning, along with a suicide note that read,
St. Louis, month, May 9th, 1949. In case I am found dead, blame it on no one but me. C.H.A. Lemp.
His dog was found dead halfway up the stairs.
Poor baby.
I know. And this guy was really strange. Apparently, 8 years prior to his suicide, he visited the morgue and was like, okay, if I die, I don't want my body to be handled. I don't want to be undressed. Like, even in death, he was terrified of other people's germs. He was like, burn me, and bury my ashes on my farm. He had a farm outside of town.
Unfortunately, those kinds of wishes don't get fulfilled a lot of times.
Yeah.
God, sell that Rolls Royce and get some psychotherapy. Jeez.
No joke, guys. Clearly, we are all struggling with something here. The only surviving sibling, Edwin, lived to be 90 years old, away from the family in Kirkwood, Missouri. Upon his death of natural causes, he instructed his servants to burn the family's entire art collection and all of the family heirlooms.
Wow.
The Lemp family empire and bloodline ended in a burning blaze.
Why are they all such dicks? I mean, they all get like taking out dogs, burning art. Like, come on now.
Yeah, that art could have gone to museums. It could have gone to other families. He burned all the heirlooms.
It sounds ritualistic to me. Yeah. Obviously, they're trying to vex some type of ancient curse they think was bestowed upon them.
Something is going on.
Yeah. I mean,
however, No,
I'm just thinking like thinking about what Bryce is saying, like he's like making it nice. Oh, he's trying to end the curse for humankind. But basically everything else I've heard about this family is they're kind of dicks. So I don't know if he was that kind.
No, I think
I meant just end the curse on his family, not everybody.
His family was dead with him.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy.
So after Edwin's death, the mansion became a boarding house. And during the second half of the 20th century, the neighborhood fell to ruin. The mansion grounds were cut in half to make room for Interstate 55 in the 1960s. And the Lemp home became old, deteriorated, and despite all of their family members being dead, their spirits and those of the people who dwelled in the mansion years after may yet live on. In the mid-1970s, an investor named Dick Pointer bought the property I mean, come on.
I can't with that.
Come on.
I'm not
Dick
mature enough
Pointer.
for that, Michael. I am not mature
This is
enough
almost as good as
that.
Dick Shaver, who is Richard Shaver, who's turned up a lot on this podcast.
Oh,
Dick
God.
Pointer. Dick Pointer bought the property and turned it into a bar and restaurant. It was during renovations, and they restored it to its original Victorian age splendor. It was during the renovations that construction workers started reporting paranormal activity involving strange knocks, vanishing tools and equipment, and even the occasional full-form floating apparition. The workers also reported the sense of ever-present staring eyes impatiently watching their every move.
Yeah.
The supernatural interruptions were too much for some, who simply walked off the site and never returned to the job. Today, the Lemp Mansion is a bed and breakfast with a fine dining restaurant and dinner mystery theater. Guests can check into the Elsa Lemp Suite, the most haunted room on the property.
Let's go.
Are they gonna get shot in the chest?
Yeah. Poltergeist activity continues to this day, especially in the restaurant, where doors lock and unlock themselves, and glasses have been seen flying across the room and shattering against a wall. Also, drinks are known to stir themselves, which I think is kind of fun.
That's helpful.
Very Mary Poppins-y.
Yeah.
Other stories tell of the monkey-faced boy who can be seen peeking out of the attic windows to passerbys on the street. Some people claim to have heard him whisper, "Come play with me," during paranormal investigations. Also, toys have been left for him to play with and inexplicably vanish and reappear in different parts of the attic. One incident involves a paranormal investigator who had their hair pulled by an unseen force while visiting the attic. That would suck. That's no fun. Disembodied voices of wayward souls who had lived in the boarding house are also heard. Their forms are sometimes seen. Staffers say the attic is one of the most haunted places in the building, along with the back stairway where the sounds of a panting dog dragging its chain up the steps can be heard. So sad. And the underground caverns, which have come to be affectionately known as the Gates of Hell. I think
sounds great.
I think actually it's the stairway where the tunnel has been paved over, and they hear a lot of activity down in that paved over tunnel.
Yeah.
Finally, the ghost of Fuckboy Supreme himself, William Jr., has been seen often in the ladies' room, where guests will sometimes spot him peeking over the bathroom stalls for a little eyeful before vanishing into thin air. Some bad behaviors, it seems, truly never die. And that is the story of the Haunted Lemp Mansion.
So can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, who was Dick Pointer again?
Dick Pointer's just the guy who shows up and buys the mansion and renovates it in the 70s.
Nope. So
and it was
Dick Pointer buys Lemp Brewery?
Yep. Well, not the brewery, but the Lemp Mansion. Dick
Lemp
Pointer
Mansion.
provides a Lemp Mansion. Yes.
I see what you did there, and I don't appreciate it.
Yes, you do. Good voice, Bryce. Nice.
I was impressed. That's solid. I need more of that in my life.
That wasn't Bryce. Bryce is no longer on the call. Laura, Shelley, what the hell was that? What do you think? Do you think that we've got a curse? Do you think we have a haunted house? What's going on with this mansion?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's definitely, they're definitely appearing, and they're probably like, this is our house. Can you guys leave? Like, that's where they're pulling that chick's hair, dude's hair. They're just like, get out of here. Like, leave us alone. This is our house. They're not welcoming anyone.
I mean, I'm sure there's a certain amount of wishful thinking, right? Because it sounds like people go there because they want it to be true. So I think
it's a big destination, paranormal destination for sure.
I mean, the poor kid in the attic, he just wants people to play with him. So like,
That sucks.
How much do you think the staff
totally
plays the part, though? Because that's like their moneymaker.
I don't know. I mean, I've known. I feel like in that case, there's people that are just trying to work a regular job, and they're working a regular job in a haunted house. I mean, here in LA, we have so many haunted hotels and bars.
Yeah.
And you can hear, we had a friend of the show, Chris Ogilvie, on The Other Side, our Patreon. This has been years ago now. And he worked in a bunch of haunted places on Hollywood Boulevard. And he's like, I saw feet walking through. I saw people walking through the window, like the 10th story window outside. I think some people are just like, yeah, this just shit happens while I'm trying to do my job. And it surprises them. You know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
that's super rad.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in this idea if curses are real. Are generational curses a real thing? Because they certainly sound like they are. Or is this just another story of excessive monetary gain gone wrong and just a lot of lack of affection in the household?
I think this is an undiagnosed genetic, like, mental health disorders being passed down from
like
family,
a self-fulfilling prophecy, couched under this idea of a curse.
I don't think it's a curse.
I think the curse. Yeah, I think this is the curse. I think that they're getting the curse from the public who's watching them and being like, "Oh no!" Like when we do it, you know, like there's a Superman curse or a Kennedy curse, that kind of stuff. I think because all of them developed. They all said like they would get older and they'd become very nervous, erratic, and shut themselves up. This sounds like some really, really, really hard OCD and maybe dementia, maybe some mental health stuff.
Sure.
And maybe
Can
some
I just say that
generational trauma that we don't know about, you know. But it's, I mean, all of those suicides, it's wild.
That is a little strange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, suicide is definitely, I'm a firm believer that suicide is genetically passed down. And, you know, so you have to make a conscious effort to stop the cycle. But, you know, listen to that story. The one thing that really stood out for me is I am always freaked out when I go to the bathroom. I'm like, if I'm in a public toilet, first of all, I'm so short, my legs just swing. They don't touch the floor. So I'm not going to, you know, be able to get off the toilet and just run really fast because I got to like jump off the toilet. So I'm always scared that there's going to be like snakes in the toilet. And I'm always scared that I'm going to have someone like looking over or under. And especially like something like a paranormal type thing. So I will not pee in that mansion.
No, I think that's a safe
Put a
bet.
diaper on me. I'm good.
Shelly, I
Safe
think
to
that's a
say,
safe bet.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This is just, I don't know what it is, Bryce. I mean, it's hard to say. It's not cursed. What, you know, when, you know what I mean? When something's generational and not being addressed, you know, you could call it a curse.
Absolutely.
I think like this is just one of those stories where you read it, you read the history, it's fascinating, and you're like, yeah, this seems like the backstory to every haunted house movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God. Yeah. Child in the attic, unloved child in the attic, just family in squabbling, fighting over fucking money, and then just death becomes them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a group question. So let's think about this, right? So we're talking about scary movies. In every scary movie, not everyone, because there's, you know, some of them that this doesn't happen, but the majority of scary movies, if I hear a voice, if I'm on vacation or if I just moved into a house and I hear a voice that says, "Get out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not staying.
Well, that's why you're receiving your laminated Bigfoot Collectors Club card, because we've said it once and we'll say it again. It's best to just get the fuck out.
Yeah. You can have my bags, take my makeup, take whatever you want. I'm out.
Am I
Don't
the
know
only
anything except the clothes on my body.
Am I the only cynical bitch that would be like, why?
Yes, you are.
Right.
Yes, you are.
Like, listen,
Yeah.
I feel like creepy shit has happened to me and I kind of treated it agnostically. Yeah, I see you.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Right.
Like, unless you're going to put up or shut up, I really am not going to be bothered by this. So I don't know.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just how it's worked for me.
Like at work, that's why, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm nice, I'm friendly, like I'm coming in the bathroom, gonna join you. Like, you need toilet paper? Like, what do you need? I'm good.
Yeah,
like,
but
we're
she's
friends.
not
We're
talking shit
homies.
to you though. Like,
No, she's not. She's like nice. She, you know, whatever. She's fine.
I mean, I don't want
going
to talk.
Back to what we were talking about earlier.
She actually seems like she's turning the light on for you ahead of time. Like she can sense when you have to pee, and she's like,
I need to tell her thank you.
Light a candle. Let me get the debris out.
I'm totally going to tell her thank you.
You should
I can't get this idea of a fuckboy super ghost out of my mind now.
It's a slutty
I was going to say you
ghost.
should leave a bowl and just put dollars in there for her. You know
impregnates all the other ghosts.
Oh my god!
That's
why they're still around.
What if she hands out like ghost mints in the bathroom and like
ghost condoms?
Cologne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys might be excited to learn that about 10 years ago, a fraud appeared in St. Louis pretending to be the long lost like Lemp heir of the family and started swindling a bunch of people in the community out of money before they realized that he was a total grifter. So I love that the family spirit lives on in so many different ways. It's wild.
That's funny.
Yeah. Spooky stuff. Spooky.
Love it.
I do
Love
have
it.
to
I want to
say,
go there.
one of you guys asked in that question thing that apparently I couldn't get a grip on about horror movies. So here's the deal. I watch very stupid television. I see enough of this nonsense regularly.
Yeah.
So when I watch something for entertainment, I want Rick and Morty. I want housewives shows. I don't want to be intellectually stimulated. I'm done. However, I love haunted shit. Like I love the Conjuring movies. I am in love. So there's like a but. So I don't want to watch Hostel. I don't want to watch any of that other crap. But haunted shit, I'm down.
Great.
Interesting. Love it.
Great. Somebody needs to make a good Lemp Mansion movie, and then we'll
Dick Pointer should make a good Lemp.
Dick Pointer should. Well, like the haunting of Bly Manor sound like the haunting of Hill House. There could be haunting of Limp.
This is a very Hill House.
Yeah,
I got
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Vibes.
I'm going to be awake all night long. I'm going to feel someone touching, caressing my face. Like I don't know about this life.
Oh, well. And with that note, let's send everyone off to bed. Laura, Shelley, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. True delight.
Yes.
Thank you.
I hope you didn't think I was being too harsh and bullshit or believe it. It's a long-running joke that people that I come down firm on the rules. So
Shelley yelled at me more than you.
Yes, it's literally it's
all right, lawyer.
One or the other.
Okay, but see, here's the difference. I want to explain the difference. In Shelley's world, it is or it isn't, and in forensics, there's a spectrum of like
Shelley
matches or doesn't match.
No.
Yes.
Shelley's playing the game right. And
fine.
the whole other part of the show, the rest of the show is about the spectrum. The rest about the rest of the show's about spectrum. Bullshit and believe it. You got to come down on a binary
I like
scale.
to truly and authentically answer questions.
No, I love bullshit. I was so excited about bullshit or believe it. I'm like, hit me. You're like ready, set, and I'm like, he's gonna say ghost, and I'm gonna say believe it. I was so excited.
I didn't know. I expected different questions. All right,
Laura,
whatever.
it's okay. When you're a Gen X, you just get it.
I'm fired.
That's right. The Gen X thing. Laura, you're fantastic. Where can people find you? Where can people find the podcast?
Crime
Any
Scene Queens.
platform.
Yep, we're on everything.
Crime Scene Queens. Any platform.
Thank God nobody had that name.
They can even email us at Hello Crime Scene. I know, right? They can even email us at hello@crimescenequeens.com. They can find us on TikTok, on Instagram. We're on all social media. And when you go on there, you're going to see me doing some crazy like videos. And then here's Laura, and she's like in the middle of a hurricane.
I did do one of those.
She totally did a hurricane video.
You got to do the hurricane video.
We always have, again, Floridians are what we are, right? So there's lots of hurricane videos of people going out in the storm in various states of inebriation and sometimes various states of clothing. But typically we do like to take a wet dog blowing around in the wind picture, though I didn't do it this time because I, in fact, have made people and I was with them.
Yes. Good job on making humans.
I made them almost all by myself.
Well,
that's all for another episode.
We're glad that you weathered the storm with us.
Thank you.
And the Lemp family, and of course, Dick Pointer.
Yes.
Crime Scene Queens, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love you guys. We're fans, and now you're officially part of the BCC Clubhouse. So thank you.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
I love it.
Very appreciative. Thank you.
Oh man, boy, oh boy, nothing like a harrowing bullshit or believe it segment to get you in the back in the spirit of the season. I also do enjoy that I just threw in some fun things and it really derailed. I got keeping everybody on their toes.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. If you love this episode, please like, follow, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast app. If you drop us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we might read it on the show, like this one, which I'm going to read because Riley's not here. From Ryan237631. Nice podcast about stuff that's strange. Came for the Bigfoot, stayed for the personalities. These boys are great and have great chemistry. I had to drop a review because they were whining about a 4.8 star average review in the last podcast. Love the wet, hot alien summers, but all caps, need more Bigfoot. 5 stars.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate that, man.
Thanks, Ryan. Sounds like we're looking for more Bigfoot. But also looks like you're a little behind in the show. I'll say that. You're about a year behind in the show. So by the time you hear this, I'll have stopped whining about the 4.8. Now I'm whining about a 4.9. But I don't think we can ever fix it because we've pissed off too many people in the past.
But here's the good news, Ryan. There is more Bigfoot on the way.
Oh, yeah. Lots more Bigfoot. There will always be more Bigfoot.
Well, there you go. And look, I'm gonna put out an APB, if you don't mind, here to all of our Club Scouts listening. Well, right now, if you've been with us this far and you guys haven't checked out our Patreon, BCC The Other Side, please do so. Just give it a shot. It's the best way, really, to support our show and reward us for all this great free content by rewarding yourself with 3 bonus episodes that we're going to give you guys every month, plus access to our entire exclusive episode archive, which is about as large as our actual main feed. So just go over there to the patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub, browse around, check it out, and click that subscribe button. You won't regret it.
That's right. Patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub. Also, write to us with your personal stories of high strangeness at BigfootCollectorsClub@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Guys, there are a lot of you who are listening. It's basically like the visual aid of the entire show. We put up pictures over there about our stories of high strangeness. So, I know that probably not all of you are on Instagram, but I know there's some of you listening who are on Instagram and you're not following. So definitely follow us over there. And while you're there, give me a follow as well at McMills. My other podcast, Slate Your Name, about working in Hollywood, is coming back this month. Check out the latest episodes wherever podcasts are free.
That's right. Follow us all on Instagram because I'm just at Mr. Bryce Johnson and Riley's at Peace Drone. So just give us all a follow. And on our Instagram, which Michael just talked about, we have a great little link tree that he set up where you can find links to all our stuff, our merch, our cameos. Hit us up there.
Guys, I know we said this last week or the week before, but I'm having a fuck ton of fun with these cameos.
Yeah, me too.
I just got another birthday one this week. It was a blast. I'm showing you all the secrets that I can share of behind the scenes stuff. So hop on over to Cameo and get a cameo for your loved one. All right, that's all for now. See you on the other side or back here next week for an all new episode. Until then, good night.
Go get regressed.
Quit pointing at my dick.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray and Michael McMillan and scored and engineered by Riley Bray. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. Do us a favor and support the show and unlock 3 bonus episodes every month by becoming a member of our Patreon, BCC The Other Side, which can be found at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.